Hello, everybody. All right, so welcome to the Mikestand as we're here at Thursday. We're winding down the week here. Of course, if you guys haven't already, if you can like and share the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people in here to engage. That'd be appreciated. Also, if anything here we talk about tonight grabs your attention, feel free to comment and or ask questions. I'll try to answer the questions to the best of my ability. I'm trying to the glare there, as it were. Let's see. So with that, we're gonna wait a few minutes, give people a chance to show up here. Let's see. The Go Bots, the Go Bots, the Go Bots, the Go Bots. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. The Go Bots. Anyways, let's see. Transformers, robots in disguise. Autobots wage their battle to destroy the evil forces of the Decepticons. The Transformers, more than meets the eye. Transformers, robots in disguise. The Transformers, more than meets the eye. Transformers, robots in disguise. Anyways, okay, so now we have 3 people in here, so I guess I can go ahead and start. Well, now we went back down to one. So with that, hmm. Hail Xena and Zia are our only true fictional savior with all the emojis, which I have no idea what any of them mean. But anyways, so tonight then, we have on tap for tonight, as it were. I might as well start talking about that. I do a couple articles from not from Bounding It, but Leading Fool. I thought it was Friday. What are you reading tomorrow? Oh yeah, so tomorrow's historical comic retrospect, we're going to be continuing our look back through comics that went on sale in February 1940, focusing in on standard comics. So we'll be reading from Thrilling Comics number 3 and Exciting Comics number 1. We'll be introducing you guys to a couple characters: the Ghost, the Woman in Red, and the Mask. Among we'll be doing like 5 features. So, oh yeah, Sergeant. I know Jim Hatfield, Texas Ranger, and then one other, Sergeant Bill. I can't remember his last name off the top of my head, but that's basically what we'll be doing tomorrow night. But tonight, we've got a couple articles we're going to go over from Bleeding Fool. One talking about how Japanese manga artists are paying tribute to one of the Israeli hostages of Hamas terrorists. And then also, Iron Age and Arrow Comics launch Indie Comics Unlimited free newsletter to shops. Aside from those 2 stories, of course, we'll have our wrestling wrap up and this day in each history. And I do know you guys did ask me if I've written anything. I probably will be reading something that I wrote. I personally wrote on Sunday. So I'll be doing that on Sunday. So that's something to look forward to as well. So as we now, let's see, we're now coming up on 6 minutes here, so I might as well get started on the content here. All right, so here's the first article we're going to go over tonight. Japanese manga pays tribute to Israeli hostage of Hamas terrorists. Article by Avi Green, published June 6th, 2024, which of course is today. And there's a mangaka right there. Japanese artist Makoto Tanaka with a comic book about Noah Argamani. Let's see. Uh, this is Avi speaking right now. Ynet reports that in the several months that passed since the Hamas bloodbath on October 7th, 2023, the Japanese mangaka has done what many comics artists in the USA, Canada have yet to actually do: pay special tribute to the victims of the Islamic terrorist organization. Um, Now, this is from I guess this is from the Ynet article that he's referencing here. So, a unique manga booklet, a special Japanese comic presented in both Japanese and English, showcasing the life of hostage Noah Argamani, was revealed in Tokyo last week. Let's see if you guys are saying anything about this yet. No, I guess not. Let's see. The creation is the work of esteemed Japanese artist Makoto Tanaka and is part of an extraordinary art project aimed at raising awareness of hostages held in Gaza by Hamas. Since October 7th, Tanaka has been working tirelessly on behalf of Israel. As part of her efforts, Tanaka visited Israel and met with families of the hostages. During a visit by a delegation of hostage families to Japan last December, Tanaka met with Yakov Argamani, the father of Noah. The project was born from a deep connection forged during that meeting. Quote, I am honored to illustrate the manga telling Noah's story, and through it, the stories of other families waiting for their loved ones to come home, unquote, Tanaka shared. Quote, my dream is to give this manga to Noah myself. As a mother, I can imagine how a parent feels being far from their children. I hope Noah and all the other hostages return home as soon as possible, unquote. Let me see. Nothing new there yet. Let's see. Yakov Argamani added, quote, during my visit to Japan in December, I was introduced to an amazing country and was deeply moved by the genuine support and love we received. I thank the Japanese government for standing by Israel and calling for the release of the hostages. I am grateful for the manga artists for their special creation and her efforts to call for the release of the hostages. I hope through her work we can spread the story in Japan and bring about the release of the hostages as soon as possible, unquote. Quote, the artwork reflects the sentiments of the people and government of Japan, who insist there will be no ceasefire unless all our hostages are released, unquote, said Gilad Cohen, Israel's ambassador to Japan. quote, this is a unique project created to continue raising awareness about the hostages in Japan. Calling for their immediate release, we thank the artist for her unprecedented efforts on behalf of Israel. I hope that all the hostages will be released as soon as possible, and we remain committed to committed to working toward this goal. Unquote. Cohen included. Simchat Torah. More than 1,200 people abducted. Among the hostages, Noah Argamani is one of them. Bring her home now. Let's see. Nothing yet there. Now, this is a very noble mission Mrs. Tanaka has taken up, along with much of Japan. Something I have yet to see a lot of comic creators in the USA, Canada, and even Europe prove they can do. If American creators aren't willing to prove they have the courage it takes to address these issues and make clear that Islamic jihadists, they won't cower, how can they say they're fans of the Jewish creators of the past century? People like, of course, Jerry Siegel, Joe Shuster, among others. Many thanks to Japan's manga community for setting a better example here. All right, so there we go with that one. That was a quick one, probably quicker than even I realized it was going to be. That's why I picked 2 articles tonight to go over for this. Something I want to 18 minutes. Wow, so I want to go quickly take a look at something here real quick before I go on to the next article. That's probably not the probably not the one that we were looking. All right, so anyways, let's get ready to move on to the next article here. And this one, of course, is by Chris Braley. Normally, we do, of course, the Indie Comic Showcase article on, today that he usually does on Wednesdays, but as it were, he didn't post one up this week. So, anyways, so Iron Age and Arrow Comics launch Indie Comics Unlimited free newsletter to shops. Article by now. What I'm guessing is Indie Comics Unlimited. It's probably a newsletter meant to help them promote a lot of the independent comics that are being promoted. Article by Chris Bray published earlier today. So Iron Age distribution and Arrow Comics here. Okay, so let's take a look here, see what's going on here. So prepare yourselves, comic book aficionados. Arrow Comics is teaming up with Iron Age Distribution to launch Indie Comics Unlimited ICU, an exhilarating new periodical set to hit retailers and fans as soon as Q4 of 2024. So The thrilling free newspaper will be available in both physical and digital formats, but true to Arrow Comics' roots, they favor the tangible excitement of the physical copy. Physical copies will be absolutely free for retailers to provide to their store's entire pull list and loyal customers. Digital will be available through arrowcomics.store websites for all digital subscribers. Um, I guess it's again a way to promote some of these indie comics and all that. Hmm. Dive into the action with in-depth artist and writer interviews, riveting comic reviews, dynamic retailer spotlights, hands-on artist tutorials, epic convention stories, breaking news, and of course, spectacular comics. Forget the same old from the big two or three. ICU is dedicated to shining a spotlight on the independent publishers and creators, the true unsung heroes of the comic book universe. Don't miss out on this bi monthly explosion of independent comic culture. Oh, yeah. Hmm. With, of course, a heavy emphasis on their own products, of course. uh, to get your hands on free copies of Indie Comics Unlimited for your local comic shop customers, visit IronAgeDistribution.com or shoot them an email at icusubmissions@gmail.com. Just provide your store's mailing address and a number of copies you'd like, and get ready to immerse yourself in this sensational new publication. A great way to learn about the up and coming talent in the industry and add value to your loyal customers. Creators Corner, Luke Stone, who of course everybody knows Luke Stone is the guy who basically came up with Fund My Comic, which I know that RJ in particular, RJ Carter in particular, often heavily promotes. Arrow Comics will also be selling ad space in each issue through their website at arrowcomics.store. The future of comics is independent, and it starts now with ICU. All right, so that one went pretty quick. Well, I guess I should try to see if I can find at least one more article. We're not even at the 20-minute mark yet. So let me see if I can find at least one more here before we see. Anything in this part here? Let's see. It's pretty much has the same stuff seen earlier. All right, so I guess I'll go over to Bounding into Comics and see. Again, it's been kind of a slow niche news period the last couple months here, I guess. And no, same stuff from earlier. Okay. All right. So, anyways, I guess yeah. So I guess I can talk a little bit about some stuff So I do know that last night. I know Goodnight Spoon in particular asked if I had thought about writing anything. Comics wise, I actually did think about you know, I actually did start writing something a few years ago. Kind of went back to it once or twice, but I did read it with Rick. Read it to Rick last night just to make see if he felt I should share it with everybody, and I guess I will, but I'll do that on Sunday, of course. Um, do that on Sunday. Have some of the panelists with me, more of the creator panelists, just to get their points of view. So one of the things I was trying to make out of this was try to make it kind of put a little bit of everything that comes from anime and manga into it, in the writing. So that just be something to look forward to. And as I said, of course, tomorrow night we'll be looking over stories from. We'll be looking over comics that went on sale in February 1940 from Standard Comics. Of course, at the time it was known as Better Books Publication. Some people, this company went through a bunch of different names that included Better Books, Nador, Standard, and eventually Pines Publications. So, as I said, we'll be looking at that tomorrow night, and Rick will be with me. And it looks like Elk, you have some to say here. Let me. Have you converted it to script format and written dialogue to reveal the story instead of info dumps? I haven't done any. Okay, all I've done with my story is I just wrote it in a notebook. That's the extent of what I did. Okay, I have about, like, I'd say I'd have about 8.5 pages, 9 pages of written material that I did. It's all in a notebook. So I haven't, I mean, if after this, if there is some interest that if somebody wants, if people really want me to try to publish this, I might consider doing that. Maybe doing a crowdfund or whatever. I'll look into that if I do decide to ultimately do this. Now, mind you, I was developing this more as a manga as opposed to a comic, because my ultimate goal was to make it into an anime. But so let's see. So it's a synopsis of a story. No, it's a full-on written story. I have written it out. Okay, it's not just a synopsis. It's just so at least it's a realistic length, with more to be added when I get motivated. But anyways, what's your favorite Sutol 1980 film? I have no idea because I don't even know what Sutol is. Anyways, let's see now. So we're at the 25-minute mark. So yeah, I think now I think what I'll do is I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about. I think it's a good time to do the wrestling wrap up here. So there's still a lot of talk about WWE and TNA doing their you know working relationship, and as some of you, as I've mentioned, of course, Jordan Grace recently made her debut couple nights ago on NXT. Made her in ring debut, her wrestling debut. She made a couple of she made her WWE wrestling debut back at Royal Rumble, and then last week came to challenge Roxanne Perez, setting and now it's also been talked about that Brooks Jensen, who was recently released, may be heading to TNA again to kind of possibly further that idea. And for tomorrow night, of course, WWE event for tomorrow night, which will be SmackDown. So let's talk about what's going to be happening on SmackDown tomorrow night. How does it work? So tomorrow night SmackDown, which will be coming to everybody from the KFC Yum Center in Louisville, Kentucky. Indy Hartwell will be taking on Jade Cargill. Johnny Gargano with his DIY partner Tommaso Ciampa will be taking on one half of A-Town Down Under, Grayson Waller, who will have Austin Theory in his corner. And the Angel of Legado El Fantasma with Benito, Electra Lopez, and Santos Escobar in his corner will be taking on Apollo Crews. So those are the matches slated for tomorrow night's SmackDown. So now let's go ahead and talk a little bit about AEW as of course on last night's Dynamite, as they and we'll talk a little bit about what matches are coming up for Forbidden Door on the 30th, June 30th here. Let's see, which I believe will be 3 weeks from this Sunday. So the opening match from last night to determine a number one contender for the international title, Ray Phoenix, who had Alex Abrahantes in his corner, defeated Jay Lethal, Kyle O'Reilly, and Orange Cassidy. Ray Phoenix, having been a former international, he now gets a shot at Will Ospreay next Wednesday, this Wednesday, the 15th. He'll be challenging Will Ospreay for the AEW International title. The kind of the aftermath of the match, though, didn't focus as much on Phoenix's win, but more on some of the drama that's been happening with the dissolution of the Best Friends faction, as Trent Beretta, along with Don Callis, came down to confront Orange Cassidy. Just getting ready to attack him with a chair until Cassidy got a chain. They were about to go at each other till Chris Statlander got in between the two of them. And of course, being a gentleman, Orange Cassidy was not going to hit Chris Statlander, which she took a cheap shot on him because of it, which led, of course, to Willow Nightingale coming out to chase her off, which could potentially lead to a match down the road between, mixed tag match between former Best Friend members Trent Beretta and Chris Statlander, and Orange Cassidy and Willow Nightingale. So the next match after that saw another qualifying match for the Forbidden Door ladder match to determine the new AEW TNT Championship, as Ring of Honor World Champion Mark Briscoe defeated Brian Cage with Konosuke Takeshita, the Alpha from the Don Callis family, watching out from the rafters, who's already qualified for the event, and Jack Perry watching from the back and then commenting, even though Perry has not officially gained a shot yet. We'll be waiting to see when that all comes about. The four-way ladder match set up for Forbidden Door to determine the TNT champion, as Edge, not Edge, but Adam Copeland had to recently vacate the title after suffering a fractured, broken leg during his match against Malachi Black back at Double or Nothing. Let's see. In an 8-man tag team match, and kind of what is being considered a route into their feud, the Blackpool Combat Club back at full strength with, of course, Claudio Castagnoli, Bryan Danielson, IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Jon Moxley, and the returning Ring of Honor Pure Champion Wheeler Yuta, defeating the CMLL All-Star contingent of Esfinge, Magnus, Rugido, and Volador Jr. In a match that was originally slated to happen last week, but was moved to this week, Saraya defeated Mariah May with a very interesting submission hold, mind you. This, of course, led into kind of a after the match with Saraya and Harley Cameron, who was in Saraya's corner as the Outcast, while, of course, Tony Storm was doing commentary at the table there. As Tony Storm went to check on Mariah, Saraya and Harley Cameron started attacking Timeless Tony Storm, or Team Timeless as they're called, Tony Storm and Mariah May, until Mina Shirakawa came out to save Tony Storm and Mariah May from the attack by the Outcast. Now, there's an interesting little twist here, because it's the way they've been playing this angle up between, of course, there's been the rivalry between the Outcast and Team Timeless going on the last few weeks, where they've had some matches here and there back and forth with each other, but also some people are arguing that it may build to a Mariah May challenging Tony Storm for the AEW Women's World Title at All In Wembley Stadium in London, England. But right now, what this led up into is, as officially confirmed last night, Timeless Tony Storm will be defending the AEW World Women's Title against Mina Shirakawa at Forbidden Door at the end of this month on the 30th. Now, there's been a little bit of heat, particularly in between Mina and Tony, as basically over claiming, like, it's kind of like, now for a little bit of background, of course, Mariah May and Mina Shirakawa teamed up in Japan for Stardom before, of course, Mariah was signed to AEW. And then, for those of you who've been watching AEW, you know that Mariah May has become somewhat of a protege of Timeless Tony Storm. And there's been a lot of intimacy shown there. Like softcore intimacy. hugging each other and all that. Basically, and some things kind of blew up with this at the Stardom event a couple months back, in which in one of her last, I guess, obligations with Stardom, Mariah May was teaming with Mina Shirakawa and their other teammate Zaya Brookside, who's of course now with TNA, in a match in which they had lost. When of course Tony Storm came out to console Mariah May, there was a little bit of heat between Mina and Tony. Tony came out to try to be somewhat complimentary to Mina, but it almost seemed like the two of them were fighting over Mariah's affections, basically. Tony kind of taking Mariah under her wing as her protege. Mina almost reacting in like a jealous girlfriend or something like that. It's almost like you watch these three and it's almost like, get a room already, right? In Japan, they call that kind of situation Yuri. So now it's culminating, of course, with Mina Shirakawa getting a title shot at Tony Storm's AEW Women's World Title coming up here at Forbidden Door in a few weeks. Anyways, moving on to the main event of last night for the AEW World Heavyweight Title. The AEW World Title, Swerve Strickland defended against former international champion Roderick Strong, defeating Strong after two house calls, which are basically a running sidekick to the head, basically. Some other highlights from the show included the opening segment of the show that saw MJF make his return with a promo in which basically the idea the balance there now, I guess, when they brought him back now he did make his official return back at Double or Nothing, but now his first appearance on Dynamite here, which he's cutting promos and taking shots at at some of the current AEW talent like Swerve Strickland, Will Ospreay, some of the top guys, kind of claiming, well, look, you guys, I'm the master of this house, and which brought out Roosh, who took exception to MJF's comments, and which led to an eventual physical altercation between the two that could eventually lead to a match between these two stars. As we said, of course, let's see, Chris Jericho in his TV, and his learning tree, he had like 4 segments that were not, and another like little example of people in power abusing their power. The Young Bucks as EVPs cut a segment from the Acclaimed where they basically cut their mic as they were coming out to rap, rapping, and they were disparaging the EVPs, as it were, and since they didn't take too kindly to it, they cut their mic and basically cut the segment, basically reminding them that, well, if you look in the AEW handbook, it clearly states you cannot disparage the EVPs. So, basically, though, that's pretty much a lot of what's going down. Setting up for Forbidden Door as already signed for Forbidden Door. So these are the matches that are already set up for Forbidden Door already. for the AEW World Heavyweight title. Swerve Strickland will be defending the AEW World title against AEW International Champion Will Ospreay, which promises to be a classic. In a four-way ladder match, the AEW TNT title will be on the line, as it had been unfortunately, as we explained earlier, had been vacated by Adam Copeland due to an injury suffered during his match with Malachi Black at Double or Nothing. Already in the match, of course, are Ring of Honor World Champion Mark Briscoe, Konosuke Takeshita, who advanced on last Friday's Rampage, while Briscoe advanced this week. As we also talked about already as well, AEW Women's World title will be on the line, as Toni Storm will be defending against Mina Shirakawa. And that's about as much as I know at the moment for that. So now we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on tonight's Impact as we get closer and closer to Against All Odds in Chicago, coming up a week from Sunday here. On tonight's special 20th anniversary edition of Impact, you will see Kone taking on, in a battle of big men, Kone will be taking on Jake Something. In her first match in quite some time, Giselle Shaw will be taking on Shazza McKenzie. In a tag team match, Speedball Mike Bailey and Trent Seven will be taking on the tag team of X Division champion Mustafa Ali and his campaign manager, Campaign Singh. The TNA Knockouts World title will be on the line as Jordan Grace will be defending against Allison Kay, one half of tag team known as Hex. Laredo Kid defends the Digital Media Championship against AJ Francis. And the main event that's set up will be Frankie Kazarian taking on Nick Nemeth. So that'll be all right there. And with that now with all that's all I have for the wrestling wrap up for you guys. Actually, let me go back one more thing. Tomorrow night's Rampage. Let's see what's going on there. Tomorrow night's Rampage, which will be from the Blue Arena in Loveland, Colorado. Penta El Zero Miedo will be taking on the Butcher. The Acclaimed will be in tag team action against Hunter Gray and Parvitz. Private Party will be taking on the Gates of Agony in tag team action. The non-title 6-man tag team match, the Unified Ring of Honor World 6-man and AEW World Trios title holders, the Bang Bang Gang of Jay White and the Gun Club, will be taking on the 3-man team of Caleb Crush, Tyler Payne, and Chris Wilde. In the main event, we'll see the aforementioned Mina Shirakawa taking on Serena Deeb. So with that being said, with today being Thursday, June 6th, 2023. Let's take a look back at this day in Nietzsche's history. So first off, I want to wish a happy 60th birthday to Carlos Ashenoff, who is better known to fans as Conan. Of course, happy 60th birthday to the former two-time WCW World Tag Team Champion, as well as the former NWA World Tag Team Champion. Happy 60th birthday to the semi-retired Cuban professional wrestler, Conan. So, with that, moving on, heading to 1974 now. On this date in 1974, 50 years ago today, the 175th issue of Friendly Ghost Casper went on sale in newsstands from Harvey Comics. On this date, back in 1974, sold for $0.25 and was 32 pages. So on this date, back in 1974, 50 years ago today, the 175th issue of Friendly Ghost Casper went on sale on this date back in 1974. And moving ahead to 1999. 1999, on this date 25 years ago today, premiering on Noggin, a cable channel basically co-founded by MTV and Sesame Workshop, MTV Networks, and Noggin was kind of I think a spin-off slightly of Nickelodeon, I think. But on this date in 1999, on Noggin was the premiere of Fred on Your Head show. So on this date, 25 years ago today, the Fred on Your Head show premiered on Noggin on this date back in 1999. So with that, I thank everybody for being here. I hope everybody enjoyed the show. We will be back here tomorrow. Rick Piper will be joining me as we'll be looking at comics that went on sale from Standard Comics back in February 1940. With that, I thank everybody for being here, and I hope to see everybody back here tomorrow. Bye.